Hi everybody, it's Barbie from Nellie and Ruth Designs, and as you can see, I have my red and white. Yeah, I had a migraine last night, so my head's a little fuzzy. So if I misstep in my explanations, you'll know why. Even though that's not really an excuse. I have my blue and white journal out, and I started filling it the other day with my tags and the ephemera that I've already made. However, I realized because it is so large, I need a lot more. So today I decided that I wanted to make some uh, corner triangle pockets, and I've been working on them, and I thought I would share them with you this morning. But first, I'd like to thank everybody for watching along. And any new subscribers, I greatly appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy my style of crafting and just my style in general. So that makes me happy. So I guess we'll just get started. Thank you again. Uh, let's see. Where do we start? Let me show you. This is going to be the pocket, and I haven't attached it fully down on this page yet because I still want to do a little more embellishing on it. This was made out of some paper this is a scrap that I had. I will show you all this. And then this is a paper pack that I received. I think I bought this years ago on QVC, and I've never really used it because it's an odd shape. It's not a 6x6 or an 8x8. I don't even think it's 3.5x5. I'm not sure if it's 4x6. So I thought I would pull that out today, and I figured I would start using that. And I came up with these, the little triangles for the pockets. And then this here I only sewed the area, the bottom area, so you can flip this up and then you can journal in that. And then, of course, we'll need a little attachment. So I made out of the Siri silk. Um, I made this cute little paper clip. So just to attach when we adhere that, which we will, just to keep that folded down. So let's get started. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm not going to be using my scoreboard. I just wanted to use this because my uh, Let's Make Pretty Stuff mat is really filled with glue and it's dirty, and I did not want to set the um, my book on there, my journal. So this is the paper that I was talking about. You can see it's just a different size. And here's the whole stack. This is a piece I've pulled to use. But when I bought this, it had all these really cool designs, and I actually bought this to mat my family photos on. But then once I got it, it's so busy, I just didn't like the way my photos looked. So I have a very large stack of this. It comes in all different colors. And I thought, well, I need to start using it. So I figured, what's a better way than to start with some corner pockets. So this actually measures, hold on a minute, I had my ruler out here. Okay, right here. This actually measures, if you want to do it the way I'm folding it, you will need this size. So this actually measures 6.5 by 4.5. So you'll need 6.5 by 4.5 paper. And all I do now for the interior, let me pull my other one out that I have completed so you can see and follow along. This is the one that is completed, and we'll be embellishing that. I'm sure, hopefully we'll have time. I have two others. I have 4 signatures in my journal, so I would like to have one of these in each signature. So I want to make 4 altogether. So what I do with this, I pull my papers, and I obviously have pulled all of my items, so I'm not wasting time doing that. The first thing I did today is I decided I want to use these. This is a really cool Sizzix. I cut these out on my Big Shot, and I will put the source of these in my YouTube description area. I don't know if it's a Tim Holtz Sizzix or not, but these I really, really like. And I thought, because I'm doing the Retro Women junk journal, I just thought these would be perfect. So this is a really cool die. It's obviously, this whole entire thing cuts out at once, and then you can just go back and you can cut out the, the dresses. So I use coordinating paper that's in the journal, put them all on the black base, and I wanted to use these for tags in the journal. So I have to decide which ones I'll be using. I have quite a few over here, so we'll go through those. So this is what started the corner pocket, because I wanted to be able to tuck these down inside the pocket, but I didn't want to, I need to make a tag to go behind these. So let's set these over here. So that was why the corner pocket for me. So you take your 6.5 by 4.5 piece of paper, and I just folded it like this, and try to get your corner lined up down here. It's not perfect. Don't worry about it. And then I just take this section here. You can do it, if you can either do it up like this. I like to do it this way so I can actually see my corner over here, how far up I'm going. And then what I do here, I just open it up and I fold this. I tuck this down inside. It's kind of hard right now for me with the light to see, but I'm going to tuck that down in. And this is going to be on the back side, so it doesn't matter if it comes down a little bit more, because this is the side actually that's going to be the pocket. All right. And again, I don't worry that this corner isn't perfect like this one here, because once you start your stitching and you're going to have your embellishment, it doesn't even really, nobody's going to notice it. Okay, so I have that. And then for the accent piece, I think I'm going to use this one, but these were scraps that I had. So I pulled all of my paper scraps from making the journal, and I went through just to see what I think would be best for the solid colors I chose. So I like this here. And then on your inside piece, you're going to want to cut a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square, or just a 3 3/4 square. And I just have to decide if I want more of the blue or if I want more of the pattern here. I think I'm going to do, I think I'll do a combo. This one was a little wider, I noticed when I did my other one, so I just had to cut it down to make it 3 3/4 all the way around. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing with this here. Now, the one thing that you're going to want to do, if you want to have to open it to be able to journal in, don't crease it or use your bone folder. Just make a nice crease. I wouldn't want you to, tear the paper at all, or sometimes when you use your bone folder and you press too hard, the paper actually will come apart, and we wouldn't want that for opening and closing. So I think this one here I'm going to use, I'm going to make it like this just so you can see. All right. So I'm going to fold it. You can either fold it this way or you can fold it this way. I think I'll fold it this way. It doesn't really matter. Just however you fancy it. And I'm just going to make a, just so it opens and closes and it's not too much of a crease. All right. Then the next thing you have to decide is which side of the page you want. And I guess, again, it doesn't really matter. But what side you want it on, the right-hand side, and it still works out fine, or to put it on the left corner. So, all right, so I'm just going to distress a little bit. In this journal that I'm working on, my goal was to finish it by the end of February, but that's just impossible for me to do. I really like to take my time and think things out. I give a lot of credit to, you know, the women and the girls out there that can just really make junk journals and just pump them out. I can't do that, nor would I want to. I just look at it as a nice, relaxing thing to do, to create. And okay, so I'm going to sew this. And what I do is I do a very small zigzag around. And then for this here, I sew this first. And then I come back and I attach this on here. I put a little dab of glue on each the corners. I tack that down after I stitch it. And then I just stitch right along the side here. So let me get this stitched and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I stitched this around, and I do, again, if you go, I like to try to stay right along the side at the edges as close as I can. Once in a while, when I turn my paper, I get off of my line. Don't worry about that. Don't think that, oh, I can't use it or whatever. That's not so. So again, I'm going to I'm just thinking here. I was going to I think I'll keep this one open, and the other two I can still embellish these a little bit, but not how I plan. So when you have your pattern on your small paper, again, you have to take into consideration if it's going to be on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, okay? So if you do have a pattern on your paper, you're going to want, so if this was on the right-hand side, I would think you would want your little bit of a pattern here, you know, don't have it upside down. But again, this appears to be the proper side because of the writing. Again, it doesn't matter. There's no writing on this side. So you just have to make a decision. So if you were going to put this on the left-hand side of your book, you may not want to have this like this, you know, the writing. I don't know how particular you are. Again, it doesn't matter. It's whatever floats your boat, however you like. Most people are going to notice the design. But because I'm going to try to put this on the right-hand side of a page, I will be attaching it here. So I'm just going to show you real quick how I just put a little dab here. I put a little dab here, and I put a little dab here just to adhere it so it doesn't slide when I go to stitch it. And that's the only reason why I put a little bit of glue on there. So again, I'm going to step away. I'm going to stitch this. And when you're on your machine, just open this right up, and you're just going to stitch this right along the side here. And remember, don't stitch up because you want this you want this also to be a pocket. So, all right, I'll be right back. Okay, so that is all stitched. And you have a nice little pocket here as well. All right, so these are the other two. I'm just going to set these here. These are opened up. We'll do some sort of embellishment on here. The first thing, I guess I'll finish these pockets and then we'll go ahead and I'll decide which, I call them mannequins, which I'll use. And then I'm going to show you the paper that I ran off from Mrs. Coggs that I chose. She has some beautiful digital paper that I ran off. These are the other two. And this is the only one that I had adhered down. So we have 3 that you can flip up and use to write in. This one, and I'll tell you why I stitched this one down here. This is where I took my bone folder, and when I folded this paper, because this is just, it's a lightweight paper. It's not a cardstock. And you have to be careful also with your cardstock using a bone folder on it. If you do not use your scoreboard, the paper started to, I could see where it was a little rough on the edges here, and I didn't want to take a chance on having it rip off down the road. That's the last thing I wanted. So this one I did adhere down, and we still have a nice little pocket. So because it is my Retro Women vintage sewing journal, I pulled these little stickers from Spix Picks, and you can find her on Etsy. And I wanted to use these gals. So, and this was another. This came out of my. It's called Your Creative Studio, and this is in one of the boxes that I recently received, and I just thought these were very pretty. So I wanted to use these as well. But when I look at these, the girls are a little bit, these measure, these measure 3¼ right around 3¼ inches. And I don't want them, they are going to hang over. They're a little bit taller, depending on where you put them. And I did not want them hanging over. They are a sticker. I don't have to peel them. I can leave them just like that. But I didn't want them to become faulty. And again, I wanted to incorporate them with these. So what I decided to do, and I have a hard time, I have to challenge myself a little bit more, working with circles. The only time I work with circles is when I make trading cards. And I really enjoy making them. These are some that I purchased. These are from Kim Collister. The others that I made, I had sent out as Happy Mail. And these are a lot of fun. I should do a YouTube on creating these, because you use shoe polish to finish these off. It's just a really fun technique. So really, I have a larger circle punch as well, but it's really the only time I use my circle punch, and I need to get better at using it, incorporating it in other areas of my my ephemera. So what I decided to do is make a small bit, I call them bits and pieces, and attach my little tiny ephemera pieces onto this, and then I will just adhere this circle onto this triangle here. So we can work on some of that, and I'm cutting these circles from this 3x4 ATC pad. All right, so this is the first one that I pulled out. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll just punch what I need out. I'll pick my papers, and then we can just continue to go from there. Yeah, I woke up this morning at 1 a.m. with a monster migraine, And I felt really, really bad for my husband because he needed his sleep and I wasn't allowing him to get his sleep because he had a 8.5, 9 hour drive today to Cleveland, Ohio. Um, this is the week that he goes out to see about his hip. He had surgery last year in May, and his hip is still bothering him a little bit. So he and my son is going out because his ankle is still messed up. He just started physical therapy, but after 3 doctors here could not promise improvement or a game plan, we decided that he really needed to go out to the Cleveland Clinic to see a specialist out there. So I think my husband said he got to sleep this morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and his alarm went off at 5:30. And I felt so bad. I really felt bad that I did that to him last night, but it just was not a pretty, wasn't a pretty sight. When I get a migraine, I don't get them that often. I used to. They were stress, caused from stress. And when both of my parents were ill, my dad had cancer. He had metastatic bone cancer the last 11 months of his life, and he passed away at the age of 90. That was in 2010, and my mom was, we actually had his wake on my mom's 91st birthday. And it was just, then for 8 years, my mom, lived on, thank God. I didn't lose her. They'd been married for almost, they were just shy of 65 years, just shy of 65 years. And I wasn't sure how long my mom would last without my dad. But she lasted. She got had that good Polish blood in her. This one. So she lived another 8 years, and towards her end as well, I used to get a lot of migraines. I knew that she wasn't long for this world, and I hated to lose her. And we spent a lot of time, I was always very close with my parents, very close. And my mom and I just became that much closer after my dad. She relied on me, for everything. She stopped driving. She gave me her car keys, and she turned in her license and all that stuff. So both my brother and I, thank the Lord, I had a brother. I still have him. He's still around, but he was such a huge help. It was just really nice, and it brought us much closer together as well. But I used to get migraines a lot from the stress of, my mom and dad and dealing with that. So I have had one. My mom passed away in 2018, and I haven't had one in a long time. I don't know if I was dehydrated. I don't know if it's just, from touching my shoulders to my ears constantly when I craft. But it was a whopper. And when I have I call it my puke bucket. Excuse my terminology, but I have a plastic garbage pail next to my bed, and it's bad. And I don't normally like to put a cold compress on my head, but my head was pounding so bad. I needed a really cold compress, and yeah, I felt so bad that I did that to my husband. And then I was up at 7 with a fuzzy brain, and it took me a while to get going. I had my coffee, watched some news. I finished, helping my son, the one on crutches, pack and get ready to go. And yeah, and then I came in and I watched some videos, crafting videos. I got caught up with Tanya. Um, I really like Tatty Treasure, and I got caught up on her videos while I was working on my items here. So I'm all caught up with Tanya, which is a good thing. Okay, so these are my circles, these are my squares. Um, and I'm not going to, I say burnish or antique these. And now it's basically just how I want to place them. And I think I am still going to try. I can maybe put it over here. I think the girls will be fine. I still want to be able to flip this, but we'll see. Let me do, and if I find that it's not going to work out, I could always just tack these down with glue. But let's just keep moving on, Barbie. Let's not even think about that. I got a lot to do here. All right, so I guess it doesn't really matter what. I think I'll use this one for here. And I guess I will just place these. This is one that's stationary. And I'm going to place it like this just so I can attach her head on here. I can stick her right on here. All right. And I think what I will do to give this a little bit more oomph, I'm just going to move over here real quick, and I'm going to stitch this. I'm just going to put a little stitch right along there. So, and I'm going to do I'll do a zigzag. So this won't take any time at all. Just to add a little bit more pizzazz to it. I'll just trim these down a little bit. Trim that one there. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get this. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to stick her on before we put the entire little thing on. There we go. All right, and then I finally opened up my new bottle of Art Glitter Glue. Using that. My other one I really used that right down to the bottom, which was good. And I miss my family when they're away like this. And I have to rethink this because this is going to go above. So we have to, I'm not thinking here. I'm going to wipe this glue right off, because if I keep the glue up on here, yeah, that's good. We're going to end up gluing that right down, and I don't want to do that. So I think the way to do this, let me just, where am I at here? Okay, right down here. I think the way to do this, and see, people do make mistakes. They don't think. I'm going to put this, I want that stitching to show. So I'm going to put this because I have that little bit of stickiness there from her. Now I can just go and I can lift it. And I will glue here. I'll put my glue. So see, sometimes it's not real cool to be chatting away. Because you just don't think. At least I don't. I shouldn't say you don't think. Getting that all under here. So I was saying that I do miss my husband when he's gone, and I miss my son. However, I don't have to cook tonight. And see, we still have that open pocket here. So see, if I had glued that, it would have caught this here and it would have glued it together. So you just have to be careful. You have to be mindful of what you're doing. All right, so let's set this aside. There's one, the first one. But I do enjoy it when they are gone because I made a really nice dinner last night. Not that I don't make them typically. Okay, now we have to think here because if we're going to be flipping this, I may have to do this a little bit differently. We're not really going to be able to flip it. And I really, wouldn't you know, I really like using these circles. So I think maybe on this one, we will just have to work it more on this side. So let's just take a look at this. If this is going to be on the right, we could actually bring this up a little bit because I really do like working with that circle. So let's find any page here. Of course, I've got things popped in here. All right, let's just pick this page. So if you're working on this and we want to, nobody says that it has to meet right down in the corner, right? We can have it like this. And then that way you can still flip it open and then we can put a nice little saying down there. So I like that. All right, that's a plan. Let's do that. But there's one cookbook that I really enjoy using, and it's the chef in it is Tegan Gerard. And again, I'll put it in my source area. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting myself. I am going to stack these because we are going to have to put these on a little bit different than because we have to flip this open. So I'm just thinking here, and I do like the stitching, that little bit of stitching. So maybe if we do it like this, we can still flip this. We will trim that corner. So I'm going to run just a little stitch. I like that 25, but I will take a little bit of that off. All right, let me stitch this really quick. But I made a nice dinner out of Tegan Gerard's cookbook last night. It's one of my favorite books to use. And I told my son, he was at Taekwondo. He was not participating. He was there to teach. And I told him we most likely would be having breakfast for dinner. And he had made mention the day before. He says, Mom, when are we going to have that really good dinner again? With the chicken and artichokes. And I said, Pat, we just had it when my girlfriend was here from Virginia with her mom. And he says, well, Mom, I don't care. He says, it's just really, really good. Can we have it again? And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. So I surprised him when he came home last night. He got a ride home from another gal that goes there and takes Taekwondo, and she's been nice enough to bring him home. I take him down Monday through Thursday, and it's a good 20-25 minutes from our home. And I told him, since he injured his foot, it's like having a 13-year-old in the house again. I'm taking him to practice and physical therapy and the doctors and yada, yada, yada. But I don't mind. He's not going to be around forever. All right, so when I put her on, I'm going to leave a little bit of her. I'm not going to peel her all the way down. So when he got dropped off last night, my husband went out to greet him and help him in with his crutches and get the door and, speak to the woman. And he says, Dad, he goes, whatever Mom's making, it smells so good. And he goes, and I know it's not breakfast for dinner. So he goes, but I don't want to say anything to her. I don't want to ruin the surprise. So I made enough last night so I could have leftovers. So all I have to do is reheat my dinner for tonight, and that'll be quite nice. I won't have to cook anything. All I have to do is reheat. So, all right, so there's the second one. I think that's really cute. We'll put her there. All right, I'll do one more, and then I'll save the other one because I want to get on and make the tags for these. I think this one would be pretty here. And I'll just end up doing the same thing for this one while it flips open. And we're just going to cut that a little bit. We'll trim that off. So again, let me and I really like this, but I'm wondering, I hate to cover it. See, that's my other problem. I hate to cover. That's such a pretty flower. Maybe I could find a flower that goes in the other direction. Maybe something more like that. Yeah, I just hate to cover up. This one as well. Unless somebody's out there shouting to, see, I can't put her there, to do it a different way. But again, if we are using this on the right-hand side, this can overlap a little bit, only for the fact that it'll be being opened. There, I think that's fine. And I don't think even it needs to be sewn. So we've got the third line here. So I'm going to flip this over and we're going to take it right to here. Come up. Sometimes this is all too much for me to, and this is why it takes me a while to get these projects done. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to sell this. I may, and I think that's why I'm being so particular with how it comes out, because I just don't want to throw something together just to get it out there and sell it. The jury is just not out, hasn't come in yet, as to whether I'm going to sell this one or not. I really like it. And then I think, well, you know, I have other journals and I just don't write in them. I've bought them. I think that's one of my biggest mistakes. I've bought journals and I don't use them. I am a big calendar girl. I'm more of like the happy planner girl. I have some journals, but they're, you know, they're more like a diary. I talk to my mom and in them we have little conversations. And I like to write. I used to have a blog when my boys were in school. That was fun. But this is why I should not bite my nails. And I don't bite my nails when I have busy work at night and I'm watching TV with my husband. But we, you know, it's only when I don't have something in my hand that I'm awful like that. All right. And I think I'll just add a little bit of glue here to hold her down. My mom had beautiful nails, gorgeous fingernails, and she used to get so upset with me. I told her it was her fault because she took my security blanket. I used to suck my thumb, and she took my security blanket away from me too soon. And I started biting my nails. All right, I'm going to finish the other one a little bit later. So we have these three, and we'll find a page to put these in. But first, I want to show you, this is the paper that I printed out. This is from Mrs. Cog. This is her patchwork. These are her patchwork pages, and this is her digital downloads, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I love the blues in this. I love all the colors. And I want to make a tag for this, for my journal. And then this is also from Mrs. Cog's Crafts. And this is the Into the Blue design. And this is just stunning. This reminds me of tile work that I've seen, you know, down in Key West, or maybe in, I've never been to India, but something in India. But this reminds me of a beautiful, Indian style. But again, it reminds me a lot of the tile that you see in Key West at the spas and things like that. So I printed these two out, and I want to make tags. I definitely want to start with these two here because they are the blue. So, all right. So I'm going to take my corner, and I think a nice size tag to fit in here is going to be right around, I'd say 3. I'll start with 3 inches. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 inches. And I'm going to get my cutter. All right. Righty. So let's just cut this right down now. Let's see where we're at with this one here. All right, so we are at, it's about 4 1/4. So let's take this down. I'm going to take a little bit off each side. I hope I've got that in view. So I would like to use that circle. So we've got it, here's 3. Let's bring this down a little bit more. I think we are going to have to go into the circle a little bit. And I'm just whittling away because I don't want to take too much. I want to try to keep it universal or equal on both sides, whatever the terminology is. So, all right, so we have our corner, and I think that will fit quite nicely, and it will fit perfectly one of the tags here. And I don't know if I'm going to back this. I think I should back it just to give a little more strength to it. So let's see here. Let's see what I have in my scrap here. I don't know if I have a piece tall enough. Yeah, I do. Okay, just to give it a little extra, just a little extra oomph. All right, and what I'm going to do is, I want to decide which one. I think because this is so bold, I'm going to use a plain piece here, and maybe we can bring in another type of flower. So let me get this somewhat glued down here a little bit. And then again, I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to stitch this because I would want this tag stitched. And I won't waste the time doing that on camera. All right, so let me cut this, and I will stitch this, and then we will cut it into, it'll be all cut into a nice, I guess I can do that now. Let's get this cut, and then I'll show you how I make my tags just like everyone else. just going to square this up a little bit here on this, where this line is. All right. And then I'm just going to cut. Right. And that, again, is another blooper. So, can I salvage this? Let's see here. I think I probably should have turned it, huh? All right. Well, I think we are going to go back to the drawing board. Let me see if I have the height on this. Let's see here. See, we all make mistakes, not thinking about it. I think all I have to do, yeah, I know what I did. I did it wrong. So hold on here. All right. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I told you my head is fuzzy today after my migraine. Bear with me. Okay, so I had that there, and I put that there. And then this one was here. So if I take, yeah, I'm not going to be able to fix this. All right, let me run another piece of paper, and I'm going to do this over again, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I know I messed up the tag, obviously, and when I went to run a new piece of digi on my paper, for my paper to cut a new one, I came up with a whole new idea. So I'm going to pull a few more items. My next video, it will be of decorating the new journaling cards I've created. I have all of my items here, and I've got some sayings, and I think it'll be a much better idea than just doing a traditional tag. And we'll take these cute little corners, we will put them in my book, and we will continue to journal along in my blue and white junk journal. And for now, thank you everybody for joining in today. I've really enjoyed today's project. I hope you have, and we will just continue in the next video. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.